Hey, what's up, everybody? Giancarlo here with Bad Beats. So this is pretty much the first deck profile we're going to have on the channel, and I'm pretty excited about it. I spent a good bit of time today testing and building around the new Set 12 Janemba package. When I first read it, it seemed like a really strong, really fun aggro deck, and I think I was able to get a pretty good build of a skilless Goku. If you're let's go to the leader. If you're not familiar with the Son Goku leader from Set 6, he was really big for a while. He kind of comes in and out of the format. Anytime there's really good skillless support, he kind of just rears his head again. So, for example, in Set 10, we had red skillless decks topping. When expansion box came out, you saw a little one-drop swarm skillless decks, and now I think he can come back again because of the Janemba skillless stuff. It really integrates pretty seamlessly into the deck. So if you don't know what the leader does, on the front side, if you have a skillless in your drop area, you can awaken at 6, and that's pretty easy to get to in this deck. Once per turn, you reveal a 4-star ball from your hand, draw a card, and then he gets plus 5k. So that means basically, even if you can't awaken, you can always aggress with the leader on the front side as well as draw on the front side, and that's a huge benefit of using this leader as an aggro leader. You can also use it as a mid-range leader. We've seen plenty of success in the past with mid-range skillless decks, but this is not a mid-range skillless deck. This is very much an aggro one. So on the backside, same pretty similar effect. Reveal a 4-star ball, draw one, then discard one. Really just good for filtering your deck. Because you're playing a combo deck, you want to see all your pieces. So the amount of card draw in this deck is very important. And then once per turn, when you combo with a skillless battle card, it combos for 10k instead of 5k. So you're going to use that usually in combination with a double strike Kai, and it's going to be pretty easy to deal deal a double strike damage. Getting into the main skillless engine, of course, we play 4 of the Son Goku Adventure Begins. Very powerful one drop. Once per turn, he adds a 4-star ball from drop or from deck to hand. So every single turn that he's on the board, he's going to +1. Some games you'll stick him on 1 and he'll stay on board the entire game, and you'll end up like plussing like crazy. His second ability, tap 2 of any color, summon a skillless from deck or from drop. So that's very powerful in searching for like your 30k Janemba, or just producing an attacker. 4-star ball obviously works really well with your leader. Because it's a Dragon Ball, we can play up to 7 copies. I've seen anywhere from 4 to 7 copies in a lot of skillless builds. It was pretty difficult to fit everything into this deck. There's so many good cards that you want to play. I even ended up cutting a lot of cards that I thought were really good, but I just decided they weren't really worth playing. Generally I think 5 to 6 is the sweet spot. You're going to hard mull for either the Goku or the ball, so there's a good chance you're going to see it in your opening hand. And as for the skillless package, we're only playing 8. Generally, you would see more, but again, because I'm going for an aggro build as opposed to a mid-range build, I'm not really trying to get a lot of value off of the leader when you combo with a skillless card. Really, I'm just trying to summon my Janemba, use it for my combo, and then win the game off of it. So let's get into the actual Set 12 Janemba chain. This is pretty much the reason you want to play the deck. We'll start with Bewitching Blow. This is actually like my favorite one, simply because of how powerful he is on his own. So he's 3 hard blue, and it's not unrealistic to want to cast him for 3 energy, but he's even he has a better effect than that, of course. He's a 19k critical dual attack, and if you have 3 or more energy, choose a 2 or 3 drop Janemba skillless, return it to your hand, and then summon this card for free. So because you need a skillless in drop to activate your awaken, it's really good that this returns it to hand instead of puts it in the warp. Simply because you can just kind of combo with it, put it in drop, and then awaken. The fact that he's 19k dual attack and critical means this pressures unawakened leaders really well. If they're at 10k and they're probably locked out of super combos, because most super combos now are only active at 4 life, unless they're playing something like the Zamasu super combo, he's really going to get in for 2 damage. There's not much they can do for that. And because it's critical, you don't have to worry about, giving them cards to their hand. Second part of the chain is the parasitic ball. If you have 2 or more energy, you put it under a mono blue 3-drop Janemba, so it can either be the 30k 3-drop or this one, and then you summon a 4-drop Xeno Janemba from deck. Your target being the Dark Parasite. I only play 3 since you can search him from deck. It's not like you need to draw him. He's better off just left in deck. I really don't want to tap 4 energy to hard cast him. So it's not like I really want him in my hand. That being said, you can also play him from hand, so it's really not that bad if you draw him. He also has critical. He's a 20k. When he attacks, if your opponent has 2 or more energy, they can select one of their battle cards and send it to the warp. If they don't, you draw 1 and then untap an energy. Really good effect. I mean, I definitely play Overwhelms to facilitate them not having a board because, every time you swing with this, they're just going to pop one of their 1-drops and not let you untap 1, draw 1. And it's really important that you get that off because it works pretty seamlessly with the 6-drop. And I absolutely love this 6-drop. I think the artwork is so cool. He looks so badass. Janemba looks like completely evil in this one. Definitely going to try to get some stamped copies of this when it comes out. He's a 25k crit dual attacker. 1 blue energy, EX evolve under the 4-drop. When a card evolves into this card, draw 2 and switch it to active mode. So if you weren't counting, that's 5 critical attacks, all minimum 19k for 1 energy. Outside of your initial investment into the skilless Janemba, which is generally 2 energy, this entire chain cost 1. And, I think that's absolutely crazy. Because they were all critical, your opponent is going to have the same amount of cards in hand the entire turn. So they're not adding cards from their life to their hand, meaning any amount of super combos and negates that they have, they're going to have to start their turn with. And if you go first, they've only had 2 turns to draw. They're really not likely to have a bunch of negates and a bunch of super combos. Generally I would assume them to have 1, maybe 2. And you can pretty much just swing unabated. They're going to have to make really difficult decisions on which attacks they want to negate the farther your deck extends. And also the fact that this EX evolves, you really want to put your Sensu Bean on this Dark Parasite because he'll swing for 25, and then because it's an EX evolve, it'll remember the boost, and then he'll be 30k. So you get a 25k and then 2 30k swings. And it's just absolutely crazy. Like I said, very efficient deck, very nice aggro deck. Rounding out the Janemba package, we have Psyche Demon. He looks at the top 7 and adds any Janemba. He doesn't add the 2 Xeno Janembas, which is a little unfortunate, but I mean, he's good enough. He's a lot like the Android 8 that you used to play. He doesn't have the utility of popping the Goku to destroy one of your opponent's battle cards. But again, we're playing a more aggro version, and it's more important that I find my chain pieces as opposed to playing a more mid-range value build. And you always want to see a 1-drop on turn 1, so you can either stick this or the Goku, and you'll be fine. Combo Attack Janemba, this was a really cool card. I really enjoyed out of the expansion box, and I've been trying to make him work, and it works very seamlessly with the new package. He definitely does a lot. So activate main, burst 2, choose an evil incarnate or a demon in your battle area other than copies of this card, return it to your hand, summon this card, add up to 2 cards from your life to your hand, and then you can't play copies of this card for the rest of the turn. So every single Janemba is an evil incarnate from your 2-drop to your 6-drop, and then of course Psyche Demon is a demon. So any of them, you can just summon Psyche Demon, bounce it back to hand, take 2 life. You're now at 6 life. Your leader awakens at 6 life, so you have access to awaken immediately if you really want it, if you really want to, and then you can just play the Psyche Demon again next turn. That's generally not the best use for it. It's really good for bouncing the 6-drop. Since you have to draw the 6-drop, there's no real way to search it. You just have to kind of draw it. Having access to just the one on your board is really strong. He bursts 2, so he facilitates your Overwhelm. And then taking the 2 life, like I said, it does let you immediately awaken, but also it gives you the option of when you're at 4 life already. You should be able to look through your deck, probably with the 1-drop Goku or even like the Parasitic Ball. So you should know what's in your deck at that point. And if you know what's in your deck, you know what's in your life. So maybe there's a 6-drop, maybe there's a Champa or a super combo, something you're really looking for. And you can just make that decision of, okay, well, this turn, if I get this, I'm going to win. So I'm going to take 2 life, putting me down to 1 or 2. And it's one of the risk reward scenarios, but you can make a pretty good educated guess based on what you know is in your life already. And then of course he just has a 15k body, so he attacks as well. It's just overall amazing card. Chilled, greatest pirate in the cosmos. I think he definitely lives up to that name. So first he has unique, which I mean that's balanced. Can't complain about that. When you have 3 or more energy, choose one skillless battle card from your hand, discard it, and play this card from your hand. So off the cuff, he's a 19k attacker for 0 energy. You don't actually have to pay energy to summon him. You only have to pay energy to activate his effect. So if this card's attack deals damage to an opponent or removes a marker from an opponent's unison, summon up to one blue skillless card with an energy cost of 3. So you're getting a 3-drop Janemba, of course. And what's really cool about that is, again, like I said, your opponent is going to have the same number of cards that they start the turn with. The only attacks generally they're going to draw from is maybe your leader swing, if even that. Generally, I try to save that for the last attack, but they're going to have to make the conscious decision, okay, do I want to negate the 25k critical dual attack, or do I want to save my negate for chilled? And again, it doesn't necessarily matter to you. You were put in a very positive state when you're just attacking, simply because your Janembas are pretty big. You don't really have to combo into them. You can drop a super combo into them, or you can drop a Senzu Bean into it, and that's fine. You're going to get a lot of value out of those, but you really don't have to if you don't want to. And so they're probably going to start the turn with somewhere around 6 to 7 cards in hand, and they're going to have to survive with those 6 to 7 cards. So if they use their negate early on one of your criticals, they might not have it for your chilled. And you're always going to want to attack a unison if the option is open, simply because they can't combo out of the damage, and it's going to guarantee you to get your 3-drop. And it's more important to establish a new chain, because you will get more attacks with the new chain rather than just trying to deal 1 damage with chilled. This card is really good out of the draft box. Definitely. It's also pretty much the only way to establish multiple chains on turn 3. Outside of drawing multiple Senzu Beans, since chilled only costs 1 energy, he can kind of just do it, for 1, as opposed to summoning another skillless Janemba usually costs 2 energy. Not that it's impossible. You have your leader awaken, you have your 4-drop mind untapped energy, you have Senzu Bean, but chilled's definitely the easiest way to do it. For the super combos, we play 4 the Master Roshi. When your life is at 4, combo draw a card. I didn't want to play the Sparking super combos simply because I prioritize my Overrealm, and I can't play the Vegeta super combo because I want to charge blue energy. That Overrealm is Secret Identity Mass Saiyan. Pretty much just the best generic Overrealm at this point. Overrealm 6, when he's summoned, clear up to 6 energy worth of battle cards from your opponent's board, and he's a 25k attacker. So you play him you want to play him before you attack with your 4-drop. If they don't have any battle cards on their board, you just draw 1 and tap 1 with your 4-drop Janemba, and so he's very important. Generally his effect is good enough on turn 2 to clear a board, but if they have like 1 lingering battle card, you can also just attack it with your leader. And I mean, this guy's no slouch either. He's a 25k attacker, and that's already pretty big on its own, really powerful Overrealm. I'm only playing 2, since again, I'm trying to win on like turn 2, turn 3. I'm not going to have games where I can play multiple of this in a row. Generally 1 is all you'll need. Here we have Hidden Power, East Supreme Kai. Whether you play this or the Champa, it's really player preference. I think the correct answer is just whichever one you have foil. And there's a slight sequencing error I've seen new players make with this deck. Because the 4-star ball combos for 10k on a skillless battle card, obviously you're going to want to use that in conjunction with the Double Strike Kai. But if you play Double Strike Kai first, your card is no longer a skillless since it has Double Strike. So just, it's something you only really see with new players. You're probably not going to have to worry about it if you've been playing the game for long enough. So 3 Power Burst. Sparking negates are generally the best negates, even though you're going to probably turn your Sparking off because you're playing Overrealm. You have a lot of high priority one drops in the deck, like the Sun Goku or the Psyche Demon. So playing the Power Burst is just really cool because you can combo with them and then just get them right back. I only play 3 negates, again, simply because I'm not trying to draw the game out very long. I think it's a bad idea to play no negates. So having a 0 mana negate is the next best option. And then, of course, for Senzu Bean, this card is so good. Aggressively, untapping the energy. Pretty much everything in the deck cost 1. Again, outside of the initial investment of your skilless Janemba, the whole deck really cost 1. Your 6-drop cost 1. The Hidden Power East Supreme Kai cost 1. Chilled cost 1. Overwhelm is free. Everything else is like free in your deck. So just having access to your Senzu Bean can sometimes mean the difference between, establishing 2 chains or just having 1 chain. And the second chain is probably going to win you the game. So, generally you want to keep a Senzu Bean in your opening hand. And, on defense, Senzu Bean, we all know how good it is. So, just to reiterate, or to go over the attack structure, you're gonna have your initial investment of your skilless Janemba, whether it's your 2-drop or this 3-drop. Either way, you're probably gonna summon it with your 1-drop Goku, so it doesn't really matter. So you're gonna attack with that. You're gonna return it to your hand to summon Bewitching Blow. Bewitching Blow is gonna attack twice. Activate your ball, summon the 4-drop from deck, attack with your 4-drop. Whether they warp a card or you untap one, draw one, whatever, you're going to tap a blue to summon your 6-drop and get 2 more attacks. You're going to draw 2 cards. So again, just this is 6 attack, 5 of which are critical. Then you have your leader attack, you have your overwhelm, you have your chain attack, you have chilled, which then establishes a second chain, which does this all over again. So you... on a really good turn, you're going to get about 10 to 12 attacks, and over half of those are going to be critical. Just this right here, like I said, is 6 attacks, and 5 of them are critical. This is very strong. Again, it is a really strong aggro deck. So going over some pros and cons, like I mentioned earlier, it's highly efficient. Everything costs 1 energy, so because everything's so low to the ground. You don't have to wait long to do it. Like I said, games are going to get closed out around turn 3 is when they're pretty much going to end. Everything's a critical. Again, to reiterate the point with your opponent is going to only have a certain amount of cards. And in those cards, if they don't have a negate, they might just lose the game simply because the only non-critical attack you're going to make is probably going to be the last one. So if they don't have a negate in their hand at the start of the turn, you're probably just going to let everything go through to their life. It's very consistent. Your leader draws a ton of cards, and it's very easy to find your chain pieces because most of them are highly searchable. And of course, because your leader draws so many cards, you have a high hand size. Some of the cons are it's kind of weak against floodgates. Something like Violent Rays, is pretty much going to turn off all your good attacks. You're going to sneak a few criticals under the Violent Rays with the Bewitching Blow, but you're probably not going to have enough attacks to win the game through a Violent Rays. As well as like stuff like Nimbus and Protector of the People, they're a little bit less effective since you can still get, multiple critical attacks in. Like I can just ramp up to my 25k and swing twice, and that's pretty good still. But another con is that it's linear. Everything is a Janemba, and I'm making the exact same plays every single game, so there's no surprises. My opponent is going to know exactly what I'm doing every time. And because of that, if they're playing something like Makekabura, the Broken Seal, all they have to do is call Janemba 3, and I'm pretty much shut out of my entire deck, and I'm definitely not winning that turn. It's a little glass cannony. If I don't win on 3, chances of my opponent stabilizing are very high. And then it can also be a little dice roll dependent. This format is a very aggressive format, and sometimes when 2 aggro decks face each other, the one that loses the dice roll can very well just be the one that loses the match, simply because you're going to have the energy initiative to execute your combos 1 turn before I can. Now, I do play some negates. I play Senzu Bean. My leader inherently has defensive value, so it's not like I'm going to get blown out of the water every time. But obviously you want to win the dice roll. Some other things to try are the Soul Striker leader. I feel like this package could work very well in the Soul Striker leader as well. So, I mean, that's just something we're going to test in the future. Toa Rewriting History is a really good card. When you summon her, you actually search the Parasitic Ball, and then for 2 energy, so you can summon the 4-drop Janemba from deck. So, you never know. That is probably just a good addition to the deck. We have Mekekabura, the broken card. It's Mekekabura, the broken seal, but it is definitely a broken card. Again, once per turn, it can search a Parasitic Ball, and then, like I said earlier, you call... let's, for example, Broly BR1. Any of these linear decks are very weak to Mekekabura since it can kind of just turn off your entire strategy. So again, like I said, it's pretty much the first deck profile we're going to have on the channel. If there's anything you want to see from us, let us know. If you have any criticism, let us know. Hopefully you guys like the deck. I'm going to have a link to the Patreon. We only have free content on the Patreon right now. We're just using it as a content hub. Right now, I have a tournament report from the TO finals. Sometime this week, I'm going to upload I guess what I would call deck building theory. It's a pretty nice article. It's about, it's almost 10 pages long. I spent a lot of time working on it, really breaking down my deck building theories, my deck building philosophy, how I really, choose certain cards, how I choose them, and why I choose them. I've been playing card games for about 15 years. I feel like I've picked up a lot of relevant information in that time. So if you're a newer player, keep your eyes open for that one. Go ahead, leave a comment. I'd love to interact with you guys in any way. If you have criticisms or suggestions, we'll be glad to take them. So anyway, thanks for watching the video, and have a good one.